What's poppin', y'all? The most controversial interview of the week, potentially might be the most controversial interview of the year, is with none other than this guy named Blockstar, who was one of Pop Smoke's killers. We don't know if he was the trigger man exactly, and unfortunately, we don't even really get the answers that we're looking for. Now, I'll attack the most popular clip first, which is the one that's been circulating. So I'll play that for you guys right now.
I'm not sorry about nothing. No, it should have never happened, but I ain't sorry. Feel me? Like, if I could go back, I'll go back, but I ain't sorry. Like, niggas die every day. Like, he was rapping about it, all type of shit. So I ain't sorry about it, but you know, I send my condolences to the family, and I wish it never happened, but...
So this clip, the guy says he's not sorry. People interpret it as him not caring that he killed the guy. I think this is a matter of semantics, because he says it. He's like, you know, my people told me, you know, never be sorry, stand on it. My parents... Because if you listen to the rest of the interview, he says he's remorseful. He says he wished it didn't happen. He says everything around the definition of sorry except the actual word. So the guy, at least from his own mouth, yes, he said he's sorry. He just didn't say the exact word. He's not happy that he killed the guy. He's not proud that he killed the guy. And frankly, I think the guy had a better comeback, a more favorable one if you genuinely watched the entire interview, than 6ix9ine did. And for example, 6ix9ine, they were beating him up. They were allegedly, they were smashing his girl. I frankly don't believe a lot of it. I think 6ix9ine was trying to stiff these guys out of money, seeing how he's handled business with other people after that. So I think 6ix9ine was being scummy. I mean, he was saying scum gang. But if we were to take 6ix9ine's perspective, which people were willing to buy at the time, keep in mind, this is like, oh yeah, you know, the marketing that he always had is like, yo, I'm just a kid, just this young Mexican kid in this gang, and he got taken advantage of. Think about it, that's a crazy comeback story. But no, instead of coming back and saying, yeah, man, you know, like I had to do that. Do I want to pull people away from their families? No, but they robbed me. They were going to kill me. They put a hit out on me. You heard the words. Like, what else could I have done? No, he decided to come back saying, haha, I'm still a gangster, all this other stuff. And now everyone hates him, and he will never recover from that. Hey, it is what it is. He decided to take, I can't even say the road less traveled. He decided to take the moronic road. This guy, on the other hand, is not a rapper yet. And I'm just going to go through most of the interview. This guy's a demon. There's no other way to put it. He is evidence. Keep in mind, this guy was 16 when this happened. He's 21 right now. He's giving answers to questions that he wants to answer. He's giving vague answers to certain questions. And with other questions, he just says no comment. Not going to answer that question. So for any people that come at Vlad or someone else saying, yeah, man, this guy is getting people to incriminate themselves. If this 21-year-old guy that just did 4 years or 5 years being locked up, I think it was 4 years, he's been out for almost a year. If he's able to say no comment, we're not giving an excuse for these grown men, all right? So we don't get the answers to the actual shooting. Like, we wanted details, right? We're like, okay, so we pulled up, we found the address because of this reason, or it's a house that we usually go and rob. And I hit up my homies, and then we decided to go. One came in the back door, one went upstairs. Pop Smoke came out, and he was like naked, or he had a towel on. This girl starts screaming. We try to rob the stuff. They're fighting back. We want some actual details, but we don't get any. He just says, oh yeah, you know, there was too much action. We didn't want... His whole thing is that they didn't know that Pop Smoke was there. They didn't know that anybody was going to be there. The guy claims he didn't know who Pop Smoke was, which is iffy, but hey, whatever. He says he didn't know who Pop Smoke was, and he says that they killed him because there was too much motion going on, too many people moving around. Which, if you take a look at it, the guy was 15, probably baby-faced at the time. Pop Smoke, he's looking at it like, yo, maybe he didn't take the guy seriously. Maybe he's like, nah, trying to fight back. He's like, okay, this guy thinks I'm not serious, so I got to let him know I'm serious. And keep in mind, I like Pop Smoke definitely more than I like some random killer in South Central LA. But we have to be honest here. This guy is remorseful. He's a product of his environment. which is the excuse that everyone uses for rappers. So rappers, granted, some rappers don't kill people like this guy did. But this guy, he shows the truth. Like, he is what rappers put the suit on and pretend to be on their record. He already had an attempted murder charge when he was 12, 13. You can see the guy, I don't even know if he's capable of like compassion. You see the interview. You're like, okay, this is definitely a far different person than these rappers that pretend to be killers and demons. And, the guy's repping his gang. Now that comes the question of, did this guy deserve to get interviewed? We're going to attack a couple of different points. Number one, the point, I think academics made this point. I don't know if anyone else made this point. I think this one's easily dismantled, which is, this individual, we're not going to give incentives for people to kill someone because they know they'll get interviewed and get paid a bag after it. The reason why this is easy to break up is because this guy was so lucky to even be able to get released. And this is another clip that he said, is that he feels like he got too little time, which I should probably post that clip too. I think it's only fair that I posted the first clip where he said he's not sorry. I need to post that clip as well to just show the contrast. Because the guy said, he got way too little time. He thought when he initially got in there that he was never going to get out again. And even he says, obviously he doesn't want more time for himself, but he feels he got out, or he feels like he got out of this with a sweet, sweet deal. Which just goes to show a lot of these other people, they're like, yeah, man, screw that guy. I don't mess with him, this and that. Trying to not stand on it. But he's not gloating about the killing. He's not proud that he killed the guy. And we don't know if he was the trigger man or not. Some people are saying someone else. Also, he's trying to make sure that he doesn't tell on his co-defendant. Some guy's still on appeal. But circling back to the point, this guy got paid to do the interview. Sure. I would understand if Pop Smoke was, if XXXTentacion, right? He was pretty close with Adam 22 and No Jumper. If Adam 22 decides to interview, I think it was Robert Allen, who the guy was supposed to get out in a couple of years, that was part of the killing of X. If he decides to interview him, I think people have more of a case because this guy had a relationship with the person, XXX in this case, and he killed this person that you considered a friend. You interviewing him, that's a different story. Like there's a bias there. But Pop Smoke had nothing to do with Adam 22. I don't even think he interviewed Pop Smoke. So there's that angle. Number two is paying this guy. The guy's not going to do it without getting paid. So we'll get that out there. Number three is, it incentivizes other people. If you kill somebody and you want to do an interview about it, you're either going to prison for the rest of your life or you've gotten out of prison or you're in prison. When people kill somebody, they're done. So I don't see where this provides some sort of incentive. Number two, even if you get paid, let's say 10 G's, you can't even cover the lawyer fees for the case that you're going to fight for murder after you already told about the murder. So this is such a freak case where the person was able to get out in such a short time span that there's such high demand for an interview for him killing somebody. So no, there's not a single person that's going to be like, I can get an interview in 28 years when we don't even know what platforms are going to exist if I go kill this rapper. Nobody's thinking like that. It's not happening. However, what does happen frequently, if we're going to try to protect rappers, right? Which I don't feel any sort of allegiance to the rapper. Would I interview this guy? Like I said, no, I wouldn't. But I also wouldn't interview most rappers. With that being said, stealing change, right? Snatching chains. Robbery. That's something that can lead to killing somebody. But these guys are rewarded all the time. This guy just snatched his chain. We're posting it on Instagram. We're interviewing the person that snatched the chain. That's what this guy intended to do. This guy intended to steal some jewelry, but it turned into a murder. So if we're going to reward and be willing to post as well as interview people that steal other people's chains, rob them, stick them up to rappers, and we're willing to do that for these guys, that can just as easily lead to murder. So that should be disincentivized as well if you're going to say, hey, we shouldn't interview a killer. I think that's only fair. Other than that, what can you really come at the guy for? Protect rappers? I mean, rappers are killers. People interviewed King Von. And I think this really stems and goes back to people valuing the life of a rapper more than they value anyone else's life. So if King Von killed people, but he's a rapper, so we can interview him. Nah, not really. I don't think Pop Smoke's life was worth more than the people that King Von killed at all. in any capacity. Now, I'm not saying Pop Smoke, like I said, I like the guy Pop Smoke. Of course, he did not deserve to die that night. But a rapper's life is not worth more than an average individual's life. That's why in the law, these guys are doing their time. Now, this guy got off damn near scot-free, only doing a couple of years. I think he was in juvenile detention. But I think Adam 22 is getting a little bit too much hate for this. And I would be critical of Adam in this case if I had good reason to be. But I just don't see some good reasoning for this person not being interviewed. Now, if he was gloating about it and, he was like dancing on his grave, I think that would be a different story. Like I said, if there was some sort of friendship that Adam had with Pop Smoke or with Pop Smoke's manager or with someone that was really, really close family with Pop Smoke, I think that's a different story. But then that just goes to, that doesn't mean that this guy shouldn't be interviewed by anyone. It's just that we would have some justified criticism in levying towards a particular platform and individual like Adam if he had relationships with these people. Then, in that case, someone else could just interview him. Yeah, it seems like this guy's going to try to get a lot of money out of this situation, figure something out. He also talked about the cons where he was like, yo, my life is screwed. I can't really get a job. I've got a record for this type of stuff. And he even said, yo, this gang stuff is really not what you think it is. And people that think this is cool, I'm living what these guys rap about. And this is also a problem. A lot of these rappers are rapping this guy's life, and they didn't live this guy's life, and they don't have to face the consequences that this guy had to face, or the actions and the decisions that he had to face, where it's like, hey, I'm doing this robbery. I didn't know anybody was going to be there. These guys are fighting back. I've got a gun. Okay, what do I do in this situation? I shoot him. Oh, he ends up dying. I end up getting caught for it. Now I could end up with the rest of my life in prison. So these rappers are rapping about this person's life, and they get to make money off of it, and they don't have to do it or face the repercussions for it, and they get seen as cool for it. But this type of individual that's actually living this life isn't allowed to tell their story, which in part involves Pop Smoke. Like, the whole thing wasn't about the Pop Smoke murder. A lot of it was about this guy's life, and he didn't even really give any details, like I said, which was the disappointing part, because we may not ever get the full story. I think we would have to wait till everyone, either that guy gets fully sentenced, the other person ends up getting out eventually. It's just a whole mess. I think the only thing that I care about is understanding everything that happened that night. The guy said the pawning jewelry amount wasn't correct. He said that nobody helped them backdoor him. So it's like, how did you even know which address to go to? How did you know what was going to be there? It's like, it's all so confusing. But I will say, this guy did some better quote unquote PR work, if you were to listen to the whole thing, than 6ix9ine did. I can give him enough credit for that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.